In this video guide, we're going to see how we can use an extra feature in Blender, which is called LoopTools. These are extra tools that you can use for polymodeling, so using faces and vertices and segments in your objects. So let me just start from the beginning. I'm going to create a new general file, and let's activate the add-on by going into Edit, Preferences, Add-ons. This is already in Blender, so you don't need to download it. You just look for Loop, and there you go. You have Mesh, LoopTools, and there's the description here. We will find them in the sidebar, but we need to be in edit mode. So we need to switch from edit mode, from object mode to edit mode. And now they will be available in the sidebar. So we can click and drag this out, and there you go. You have them here at the bottom of this list. So we have several commands here that we can use. Let's start with bridge. Now you actually already have a bridge tool in Blender. And for example, if I want to bridge on the same object, two faces like this, it's going to create a hole. So let me just use a inset faces. This is one of my favorite tools in Blender. So I'm going to go down here. This is where you will find extra options, extra parameters. So here I'm going to define a precise thickness. And then if I bridge these two with the standard bridge, which is not right here, it's actually, well, let's right click. We can access here the standard bridge. So it's going to create like a hole inside. So how we can use this one here? It's pretty similar. So I'm just going to create a new object. Now, if I stay in here, if I stay in the edit mode of this object, I can add and already join extra geometry. So for example, I want to add a cylinder, and then I want to move it. So I'm going to select move, and be careful here. I have proportional editing on, so I want to turn it off. Click and drag, and there you go. Now, what if I want to bridge these two together? And so create a bridge. Well, in that case, I can choose here the faces that I want to use. Let's say that I want to use these two faces here and this other one right here, and we can do bridge. So it's kind of a loft here actually, because we are connecting one face with two. Now we can also use 1 and 1. This is going to be like the best option. It's not going to create like extra cuts. So it's going to be nice and clean and neat. And then here you can adjust the segments. So if you want something more curvy, if you want a curved surface, you want to add more segments. And you want to address the strength here. So you can change the strength. And this could become something cubic, so it's going to be curvy, or linear, so it's going to be straight. And you can also twist it, but for twisting you need more segments, so we're not going to use it right now. So this is, just an example of kind of an imaginary object. So let's go here now again, and I want to create another inset. So I'm going to use the inset faces, click and drag. If it doesn't work, go here, adjust the thickness, and then I'm gonna bridge again. So bridge, and you can see that it's already creating a curve with a lot of segments. So if I don't want a curve, if I want a straight line, don't add segments. If you're adding segments, you can then change the effect. So you can see, you can like inflate this or make some sort of curvy hole in there. So you can adjust it however you want. You can also twist it, because here we have a little bit of segments. So you can see that they are kind of being twisted right now. You can see they move like if they are twisted, especially there in the bottom. So they're not straight. And this is another way you can use the bridge. Now the circle, I think this one also is really interesting. So what if I want to create, let me just create another cube. So I'm gonna add another cube and just move it again this way. So what if I want to, well, let's bridge also these two. So I'm gonna bridge those. Again, can change here the way we can merge this. Well, this is not so fun, because it's just a straight bridge. So let's make it like linear, and that's it. We don't really want to do anything with that. Now here, if I want to create like not a square hole like this, but a circle, circular hole. Well, this is where circle can come handy. So I want to subdivide this because I want to have more options. So if I select this one here on the top and this one here on the bottom by holding Shift, right click and start to subdivide right here, or S. So you press S once you are in the right click pop-up menu. Well, this is fine actually. So here I need to select either the faces that I want to use or the segments that I want to use, because when you use all these tools, you can work with faces, with the segments, or with the points. So depending which one is easier to select. In this case, I think it's easier to go to the faces. So I want to select these 4 faces at the top, these 4 faces at the bottom, and let's turn them into circle. And then again, you have here other options. So you can do best fit, it can be like flat. You can adjust the radius. So if you want a bigger or smaller, and the angle again, if you want to twist it, and the influence right there. So if you want a more square or more circular, and that's it. Now, if you are more polygons, if you have more segments, this is going to be more like a circle. This is like more an octagon or something like that. But it's fine for what we need to do here, this example. So remember that to have more circular shape, you need more subdivisions. That's it. So I'm going to just bridge it. And now I'm going to create something more circular. And again, I can play around here with the various effects. Okay. Now let's go to curve. Now curve can be used when we have again some points or some segments. So I'm just going to create a new cube and I'll place it here. Now there is another way to add extra subdivisions, and that is to go here to the modifiers, and we can use the multi-resolution. And when we subdivide, we can just select linear. So it's going to do a linear subdivision. And let's do like 2, it's going to be fine. And let's apply this so that we actually can see the subdivisions. Well, I think I want more, so I'm going to add more multi-resolution, another layer here, another level of subdivision with linear, and then I'm going to apply it. Okay, now I have a little bit more of these faces. And by the way, let's also check here if I select, well, I want to go to edit mode first. And I want to select one of these and select now the similar, and I'm going to go to coplanar. So I'm going to select all these faces that are in the same plane, and let's do circle. So you can see now it looks strange, so we may want to adjust the radius, but you can see it's kind of doing a loft between this square and this new circle, and it's looking more like a circle because we have more subdivisions. And then I can extrude this, I can continue with this and move on. I can create like a column or whatever. And so now that we have some points here, I can work a little bit with the curve. So I can take, for example, this point, and I want to move it right here. And then I want to select these are the one by holding Shift, and let's do curve. So you can see it's kind of creating this, well, it's not a curve yet. It's kind of a straight oblique line. And also here, it's affecting also here. So we may want to, you know, restrain the effect sometime. Otherwise, it's going to influence like other areas that we don't want. And here we can also apply boundaries so that it's only going to affect this part. So just play around here a little bit with these different options. So this is kind of a straight line again, and then you have influence. Now, what if I select this one here, and then one in the middle, and then another one right here? And actually, I'm gonna push this a little bit and select these 3 right here. Let's do curve again, and nothing is happening right now. So let's detach the constraint, and you can see now it's more like a curve. It's acting more like a curve right here. But you know, if I do linear, it's gonna be less a curve essentially. So it's not like it's so important like the others, but I think this is also something that can come handy sometimes. And you can also check the manual if you want like extra examples. Now let's go with the flatten, and for that, let's use something that it's not flat. So let's add like a sphere. So if I add a sphere, let's say that I want to create a flat bottom of this sphere. So again, I'm going to go to edit mode. If I select that first point, then I can enlarge the selection by holding Control plus, so I can increase the selection. And let's say that I want this flat, like for a flat bottom. So if I do flatten, it's gonna flatten everything, and it's gonna do it with the best fit at the beginning. And you can also change this if you want less flat or more flat. And you can also use normal, which is going to be fine for this, or you can use the view. Now the view is going to use the view that you are in. So if I am right now right here and I do like best fit and then view, you can see it's orienting like my view at the moment. So if I want to make it flatten correctly, I should use like the top view, and so that's going to make it like flat using that top view, and then I can of course adjust it. So you can pick again the points, the segments, or the faces. So let's select like a bunch of faces here. These and let's do flatten. And again, this is according to the view, which is kind of frontal right now. But we can try again with best fit, which is kind of doing like average, or normal, which is going to do probably the average normal for the midpoint here. So these are different ways we can arrange and make things flatten in terms of surfaces. And then we have G-Sketch. Now for the G-Sketch, I'm going to use this other side of this object. I'm going to go in the top view, clicking on the Z, and I'm going to use here the object mode and the annotate. This is one option. So let's create like a curve, generic curve like this. And now let's go back to the edit mode. Oh, let me just select this object, go back to edit mode, and I want to select these points right here. Now usually I use also the select circle to be quicker and select quickly the points. Okay, now what it's going to do, G-Sketch is going to do is going to connect these to this curve, to this annotation. It's going to treat it like a curve. And so we're going to go to G-Sketch. Here I'm going to select annotation, because this is what I want to look for, and then just press the button, and that's it. So it's going to connect those. Now, of course, it's also move them in the Z. So if you want, you need to, this one here is like snapping to the grid. So that's the way it's working right now, but you can adjust it, of course. This is just an example. And I think also this one here is not so handy like the others. I think the best one are bridge and loft, which are the most important. Also flatten is good, and circle, but bridge and loft are the most important ones. So let's go to loft, and for this one I want to do another example. I can still use something here, but I want to create something more. So I want to go to add, and in this case I'm gonna add well, let's start with the plane. So this is gonna be like our first curve. And then I can also copy this. So I can do Control C, Control V. You can see I've copied this plane. So I have two planes. And let's continue to add other stuff. So I'm going to go to add and add a circle. And I'm going to place the circle right here. And let's copy this as well. So I'm going to select it, Control C, Control V. I'm going to push it up. And there you go. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 objects that I will use. And I want to join them together. So I want to select everything, Control J, or right click and join. Well, right now it's not visible because we already joined that, so I need to go back. So there you go, join. So even though they look like curves, these are not curves, these are meshes. So everything is in a mesh. That's important. And if you want to make things more clear, I can press X, delete, but I don't want to delete everything actually. So let's go to edit mode, and I want to only select these two faces, press X, and delete only the faces. So I'm going to leave the curves in there. So when I do select all, it's going to show me all the curves right now. And what I want to do is work with the points and do some variation here. For example, I can take this point, let's activate the proportional editing, and I want to move this to create you know, something that is looking like a little bit different. So I have two different shapes here. Okay, and now let's select all again, all points in this case, and let's do Loft. So what Loft is doing is taking the shapes that I have given the tool and is bridging them all together by creating some complex result right here. And you have other options here. You can try with this to change it. You have linear if you want more straight lines. You have cubic, you have the strength of this Loft. You can also increase the segments if you want more curviness, like the bridge. So you can see it's coming up with really interesting results. And this here right here, and you can also twist. You can reverse sometimes if you have problems. You can try with reverse, and that's it. So this is an example of how we can like bridge many objects together using different shapes. You can generate basically anything here. Just you need to find the correct shapes or profiles that you want to use. Now let's go and see the last two, which are relax and space. So I'm gonna go back to this object right here, go here to edit mode. So let's start with relax. So with relax, if I select these points right here, let me use the select box, it's gonna be easier, and I do relax, it's going to relax it. So it's gonna be like a more relaxed curve. You can see it's not awkward like the one that I draw by hand drawing. So it's gonna like adjust and relax all these points to make it look more well, nicer and more curvy, not edgy, not zigzag. So that's adjusting that. So with relax, you're gonna make things a little less confused, a little less randomized in the position. And then you have space. So if you have like things that are not evenly spaced, so if I move these around like this, so let's select them again with the select circle like that. So if I do relax, you can see it's gonna relax it. If I do space, it's just gonna adjust it in the space and make them equally distant. And again, you can play around with the parameters. So this will be all for this really interesting set of tools that you find in Blender. If you like the video, please subscribe. If you want to support us and thank us, you can join the channel as a supporter. Check our other video guides and video courses also that we have in Blender. So thanks for watching and see you in the next.